When I'm in France, I like to go to the boulangerie, that's the bakery, first thing in the morning and buy fresh croissants, freshly baked croissants for my breakfast. I remember the first time I did this. I walked into the boulangerie and they're very crowded first thing in the morning. And everybody, the adults and the children, all looked straight at me and said, "Bonjour, madame." This was quite a surprise for an English person, because in a British bakery, it would be the people would be looking down and would certainly not say hello to you. It's a very different way of behaving. So I was thinking about this and I asked my French friends, what's this all about? And they were amazed. They said, but surely you say hello to everybody. I mean, whether you're in a city or a village or whether you're walking in the Alps, it doesn't matter. It's impolite if you don't say bonjour or bonsoir or whatever fits the time of day. Their view of that cultural norm was so very different from what a British view would be. So I started wondering about this, and I thought, what would it be like to challenge that norm, to behave in the opposite way and see what happens? I live in London, and if you go out my front door just a couple of minutes, you'll be in a lovely park, and the park connects with the local shops. So lots and lots of people use the park as a shortcut. And I thought, what I would do is I would experiment with this cultural norm and I would talk to people. So in I go into the park. Hello. Good morning. Hello. Now, I was very pleased that people didn't totally ignore me. In fact, most of the people, the majority of the people, actually either said hello back or smiled at me, looked at me, smiled at me. There were a few non-responders, yes, of course. I think perhaps some of them didn't hear me, but also that it was just so far from the behaviour that they were used to that they just couldn't cope with it, so they went into themselves. I was very encouraged by this feedback and this participative air that people seemed to have if you open the door for them. So I decided to experiment a little bit more, and I told the girl in the red coat that it was a stunning colour. And she smiled and said, "Thank you." And I asked the student, it looked like a music student, "What's in the case on your back?" It was a curiously shaped case. And he said, "Oh, it's a saxophone." And there was a little boy, he was just 4, riding his scooter. So I congratulated him on his driving skills. And he giggled. The response of people when that cultural norm was challenged, I suppose, was very encouraging. And people seemed to enjoy it. They seemed to, they seemed to make them happy. It certainly made me happy. So it made me think of something else, and that is, why do we have these cultural norms if they're not really making people happy or being productive? And the answer is, if you look around your workplace, there'll be things that people do or the way that they do them that they're there, and you start asking questions and, well, that's how it's done, or we could never change that. It's always been like that. It's the world around them has changed, but the norm hasn't changed, and it's out of kilter. So something that really helps your workplace culture to improve is if you try to recognise and challenge any cultural norms that are just there because they're there, and perhaps they're being unproductive. So talk with your teams and encourage the idea of discovering non-productive norms and then seeing whether you can challenge them. And a good way to do this is to act in a contrary way, contrary to the way people would normally act. Like I did in the park when I said hello to everybody. That was certainly contrary to the way people in that park normally act. If you do this and you do it enough, you will find that the new norm will emerge, because people, once they've experienced experienced it, they will say, oh, actually that works better for us. And gradually a new norm will emerge. So think about this. And we'd love to hear about your norms and any norms that you've questioned or would like to question. Press the subscribe button and join our conversation on the culture in the workplace. Thanks for watching our video on workplace culture. There's lots more in our book, Happy to Work Here.